I'll come and cook it for you. So that's how Nigeria behave with God. He has given us everything. This is dry season. That was supposed not to get any rain by now. Rain is even falling. I mean, which country did God bless like Nigeria?
God has given us everything. So says our last caller. We have to act, do our own part for economic prosperity to come our way. We have to go now.
Yes, we have to go, and we'll be back same time tomorrow morning, God willing. My name is Tola Teriba.
I remain yours faithfully, Sheo Oyelowo. Thanks for always enjoying conversation with us. Next is Tit Bit. Toby Ajewole is ready, fully loaded. Yes, I can feel that. Interesting sport headlines he has got for us, coupled with analysis as well.
Yes, good morning, Sean. Good morning, Tola. Yeah. Yes, a whole lot going down the world of sports. We saw the UEFA Champions League go down yesterday. More fixtures will be going down tonight. Counting down to the 13th African Games, formerly known as the All-African Games, with Accra, Ghana will be hosting next month. And Nigerian athletes are trying desperately to qualify for that games because it will also act as a qualifier for the Summer Olympics. And yes, later this weekend also too, Nigeria's Super Falcons, they will be engaged in a double header against the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon in a quest to qualify for the Olympic Games, and yes, to be Cameroon that they'll be coming up against. So yes, a whole lot will be going down. Yesterday we had the preliminary draws for the African Cup of Nations 2025 to be hosted by Morocco. It's the 8 lowest ranked African teams that were participated in that preliminary draws, after which the main draws will now happen ahead of next year's African Cup of Nations to be hosted in Morocco. Well, middle of next year. We're talking about from July, August is what we are talking about, the hosting of those games. So yes, a whole lot will be going down for Nigeria and even the rest of the continent.
Spotted with next with Toby Ajewole.
Yes, you're welcome to the program Spotted Beat on OLUYOLE 98.5 FM, your champion style, where you listen to the best, the latest news all across the world of sports. Yes, we'll be transversing from the local scene. Yes, we have update from the upcoming Federations Cup, formerly known as the Challenge Cup, the oldest football competition in Nigeria. Yes, yes, and before moving straight, yes, international team stories. Football on the continent of Africa, and even right there in Europe. As you know, the UEFA Champions League at the knockout phase. We had another round of matches go down yesterday. And yes, we have the results for you this morning. More games will be going down later tonight at 9 p.m. Nigerian time. Talking about the round of 16 games of the ongoing UEFA Champions League. And yes, we have update concerning our qualifiers for this year's Summer Olympics vis-a-vis the 13th All-African Games. And yes, I'll be here to give you the latest all across the world of sport. Well, yes, I'll send a special hello to our listeners on Okiogu 96.3 FM and Agilete 92.1 FM. And as you know, you're listening to the mother station, OLUYOLE 98.5 FM, your champion style. And I'm your host, Toby Ajewole. I'll be your host on the program this morning. Yes, we'll be sailing across the sea of sports. And yes, trust us to navigate you and make sure, yes, today's program will be a swell time. You can join us online, pop up or jump up to our YouTube page, OLUYOLEFM, and also go on to Facebook. Definitely drop your comment on the live stream. We'll be talking about a whole lot of things. Have your say and make the microphone yours virtually. And you can also call into the program on 080-5500-9850, 080-5500-9850. That's the number to call on the program this morning. And yes, starting with the update from the upcoming 2024 Federations Cup preliminaries. Well, in a letter sent by the Nigerian Football Federations to respective state football associations, it has been said that the State FA Cup will now kick off from March the 1st up till the 31st of next month. Yes, all state finals are expected to be concluded from the 30th out to 31st of next month. Yes, our states begin their state qualifiers for the main Federation Cup draws. Well, as you know, two states or each state are expected to have two representatives that will qualify for the National Federations Cup. And away from that, we're moving straight to the next story this morning. And yes, the FIFA, that's the federation governing football all around the world, it has had its first referees, first quarter fitness test and badging in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, that is Abuja. Yes, the first quarter FIFA fitness test for Nigerian international referees took place yesterday at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory. And the medical test was concluded, yes, previously on Monday this week. That was the 19th of February. And yes, the test went down yesterday. 30 individuals, which made up of 7 men referees, 7 assistant referees, 4 women referees, 4 women assistant referees, 4 beach volleyball soccer referees. I beg your pardon, 4 beach soccer referees and 4 futsal referees went down yesterday. I can see your calls in the program this morning, and yes, at some point I'll pick your calls. And yes, one of the beach soccer referees, that is Jalili Ogumoyiwa, who is currently in Dubai, yes, at the ongoing FIFA Beach Soccer World Cup. I was part of the named referees for the test which went down yesterday. Well, in my intro, I'm sure you'll have heard me talk about the journey to African Cup of Nations 2025 to be hosted next year in Morocco. Yesterday, CAF, that's the Continental Governing Body for Football, had the preliminary draws for the fixtures for AFCON 2025. Talking about the qualifiers, and yes, 8 countries were placed in 2 pots, and yes, I'll read out the countries to you. And yes, in pot 1 we had Somalia, Djibouti, Sao Tome and Chad, and in pot 2 we had Mauritius, South Sudan, Liberia, and former Swaziland, now Eswatini. Being placed in pot 1 and pot 2 for the AFCON 2025 preliminary qualifiers that went down yesterday. And now we have the draws, and I'll be reading out the first and second legs as it will be going down for the journey to AFCON 2025. Well, I must add that these 2 countries, or these 8 countries placed in 2 pots, they are the lowest ranked African Cup of Nations teams that will start the long journey to AFCON 2025 before the big boys start theirs midway in the qualifying series. And yes, in the first leg, Somalia will be having a date with Eswatini. Sao Tome will be playing with South Sudan. Chad takes on Mauritius, and Djibouti will slug it out with Liberia. In the second leg, it will be Eswatini taking on Somalia. South Sudan will be taking on Sao Tome. Mauritius will take on Chad, and Liberia would have a date with Djibouti. Yes, I'm talking about the second leg of games right there. Well, the games are expected to start from next month, I must tell you, between the 20th to 26th of March 2024. And meanwhile, the Confederation of African Football has reached an agreement in principle for the 2025 Cup of Nations to be played in July and August next year in Morocco. So definitely, that is all it looks like on the continent of Africa. We're right here in Nigeria. Nigeria's Super Falcons, that's the men's senior women's football team, will be traveling later tonight to Douala. Yes, as they have a date with Cameroon's indomitable Lionesses. Yes, for one of the tickets to qualify them for the women's football event of this year's Summer Olympics in France. But before I give you the details of that, I'll be going on this commercial break. And yes, one man has made a return to the Falcon squad, to the coaching crew. Well, I'll be playing his voice at the return of this commercial. Well, stay tuned. The program is Tit Bit on OLUYOLE 98.5 FM.
اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت
kúrò nafsin dáyé kọ́tùlẹ̀ mọ́ọ̀tì bí kò bá gbowó àbá fún lówó bí kò bá gbẹ̀ràn àbáràgbò funfun bọ̀lọ̀jọ̀ àmọ́ ikú kọ̀ kì í gbowó kì í gbòbì bọ́lọ́jọ́ bá ti dé àsàrálù ìgbẹ́bẹ̀ ọ̀dájú làlùmọ́ntù ó sì wo sọ̀sọ̀sọ̀sọ̀ tó mẹ́ni rí lọ láìròtì ó máa ṣe o inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un ọjọ́ ìṣẹ́gun tuesday ọjọ́ kẹtàlá oṣù yìí ni kó pọ̀jù bàbá wa àtàtà bàbá onínúure fàdíràtù sheikh muritadọ alamu abubakar gata àgbọ̀ ọ̀tọ̀mọ̀ kékeré dé tí wọ́n sì wọlé sùn lọ́jọ́ kejì inshallah ìjókòó fìdá ọjọ́ kẹjọ yóò kò ní wednesday ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí ọjọ́ kọkànlélógún oṣù kejì ní mọ́ṣáláṣí ńlá ọjà bá ń bàdàn láago mẹ́wàá òwúrọ̀ bàbá wa fàdílátù sheikh muritadọ alamu abubakar gata àgbọ̀ ọ̀tọ̀mọ̀ kékeré àgbà nínú àwọn àfáà alijọ́nà firdaus ní aláò sáàtì yóò fi ṣìkẹ́yìn o olùkéde sẹ́nẹ́tọ̀ rilwan adésọjí àkànbí ọ̀kan lọ́mọ ilẹ̀ ìbàdàn.
Oyo State, are you ready for the biggest international trade fair 2024? Oyo State Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Oyisima, in conjunction with Oyo State Government, presents International Trade Fair 2024. Coming up on 23rd February to 6th March 2024 at Expo Ground, Samonda, Ibadan. Themed, showcasing the economic potential of Oyo State through agriculture, micro, small and medium enterprises. The Executive Governor of Oyo State, Engineer Oluseyi Makinde, FNSE, will declare the trade fair open on the 26th February 2024. Bountiful opportunity will be available for the exhibitors to showcase their products. For more information and inquiries, call 080-3803-9542 or 080-8756-9416 or email info@oyotradefair.com or www.oyotradefair.com.
Yes, you're welcome back from that commercial break. Yes, it's still Tit Bit that you are listening to, right here on OLUYOLEFM 8.5 FM. Also broadcasting on Okiogun 96.3 FM and Agility 92.1 FM. Yeah, so before we went for that commercial, I was telling you about the Super Falcons and their clash with the Indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon. Yes, for one of the tickets to qualify them for the women's football event of the Paris 2024 Olympics. It has been about 12 years or thereabout since Nigeria's women have participated in the female football event of the Olympics. As you know, Nigeria's male team would not be playing at this year's football event of the Summer Olympics. So our hopes are solely on the Super Falcons of Nigeria, hoping to qualify for the women's football event of the Olympics. Well, I'll be playing you the voice of a potential returnee to the coaching crew of Nigeria's female senior football team, talking about the Falcons. No other man that coach around the world. He has now more or less solved the contract debacle that he had previously with the Nigeria Football Federation. I'll be playing his voice, and yes, you listen to what he had to say about his potential return and what he hopes to achieve with Nigeria's female football team.
TG the Hitmaker. I know you said your target was just coming out from the group stage. We did, and we got to the second round. We're back now in Nigeria. 15 years out of the Olympics, what's your personal target?
Well, the goal obviously is to qualify for the Olympics. We can't look ahead of ourselves as to the success in the Olympics until we get there. So qualification is going to be the primary goal. And we've got, as everyone knows, we have a very difficult set of matches coming up with Cameroon. So all the focus now will be on those two matches.
How are we ready for Cameroon? We stopped them from going to the World Cup in the last WAFCON in Morocco, and they will sure be seeking for revenge.
Well, they will, and if I understand history correctly, I think Cameroon stopped us from going to the Olympics a few years back, maybe 2012, somewhere around there. So I think the two countries know each other very well, and they certainly have a lot of talent, and they're very, very dangerous, especially in their counter-attacking style of play. But I really, really like our squad. I like the team. I like the team chemistry. We were able to get all of our players back in for these matches, and I think that's very important. So if we can put together our performances like we did at the World Cup, then I really like our chances.
So you're saying we'll try as much as possible to maintain the tempo of the World Cup and play good football?
Well, we need to carry on from what we did at the World Cup and build on it and even be better. You know, the difficult part for these matches or any of our upcoming matches is that the window of time, the international break, doesn't give you a lot of training time. So we're going to have to rely a lot on our experience at the World Cup to take us through, especially this first match at Cameroon, before we really get a few really good days of training before the second match.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you heard the voice of a coach around the Wardroom talking about the chances of Nigeria Super Falcons in their doubleheader against the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon. Well, the last time Nigeria played at the football event, talking about the Super Falcons at the football event of the Summer Olympics, was as far back as the Beijing 2008 Olympics right there. And yes, hoping that the team will reverse this somewhat negative trend of their inactivity at the women's football event of the Olympic Games. And yes, to the interesting world of football transfers. Yes, it was reported that Paris Saint-Germain striker Kylian Mbappe he has agreed to join Real Madrid at the end of this football season. That will be later this summer. Well, it was also reported that he has agreed a 5-year deal with the Spanish giant. This was after Mbappe said he would not be extending his contract with the PSG. With PSG, the Ligue 1 champions and even the Ligue 1 leaders at the end of the season. Also, one bit of story in the world of football, but yes, back to the continent of Africa. Well, I'm sure you remember Emas Faye. Well, I'll remind you, he was the caretaker coach of the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire. Yes, leading them to their third African Cup of Nations crown after defeating Nigeria 2-1 in that AFCON 2023 final. He has now been appointed by the Ivorian Football Federations on a permanent deal after leading the Elephants to victory in the AFCON finals. But the duration of the contract was not made known by the Ivorian Football Federation. I'm sure when you hear that tune, you know we are talking about the UEFA Champions League, yes, and diving straight into the UEFA Champions League as the 2 matches went down yesterday night. Well, in Netherlands, it was a 1-1 draw between PSV Eindhoven as they hosted the German side at Borussia Dortmund yesterday. And the other game played last night at the Giuseppe Meazza Stadium, that's the San Siro. It was Inter Milan 1, visiting Atletico de Madrid 0. And yes, later tonight, 2 other games I will be going down in the UEFA Champions League. A Portuguese side, Porto, will be